Average.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I hope you guys had a wonderful evening and night and morning. I saw you were working through the night. I don't know if he's here or he's gone to sleep. Good morning, Tosh. Good morning, Charity. Atis. Hey, I have not heard from you and Achieng. That's really worrying.
We're still here. We're still here.
I hope you guys are doing well.
Tuko
Okay.
pamoja.
Okay. So, I'm just gonna go over the stocks we discussed yesterday and see how they turned out post year. Um, so Microsoft, we had anticipated it was either gonna pull back or continue down because it has been consolidating for a while. Um, so that's what happened. The reason why, as I told you guys, I don't usually swing Microsoft. I usually play it post year because first of all, I've never seen it run over overnight the uh, the way we see other stocks. It can go up. The problem is, will it hold? That's usually my question. But it seems like um it's going up, but it needs to go break this level. This is an all-time high for Microsoft, the 366. So if it goes if we have a continuation after the market open, because it has gone to 351, this 352 or 351 point something, it needs to go all the way to retest 366 and break it to go higher. Now, what happens with stocks that are creating, that have hit an all-time high? We don't have a history. That's what I usually say. We do not have a history to refer to. All we have is uh, just we are using the levels to guide us on how high this stock can go. Okay, so we don't have a history like the others. We knew Netflix, the history, the or Nvidia after hitting 520. Now we know the history because it has not gone back to that level. But when a stock hits an all-time high, there's nothing to refer to apart from that high that has been hit. So if it breaks 366, then the levels are posted. I've given you guys the post-year levels. Those are the levels to watch out for. Um, I want you guys to start at least using these SARI levels. So this is the trading type. I know Judy posted a question. I didn't get the question. I just wanted to reiterate because we spoke about this. You have to pick a trading style. So we have the day, we have the multi-day, and we have the swing. So the day, these are levels for the day. Okay, you can use this for scalping and day trading. So multi-day, the levels run for an entire week. And then the swing, the levels go for the whole month. So depending on which trading type or style you're doing, you can come here and change. If you want the multi-levels or you want the swing. Now, I told you guys when we are looking at stocks that have reported earnings, you can either use multi-day or swing. You want to use a longer time frame so that when I tell you guys ER to ER, you can actually see how high that stock can go over the period of that month. If we have a continuation up, if it breaks that 366, then we know these are the levels it's capable of going up to. You can either use this or you can use the Fibonacci levels, the ones we've always used on so you can use the SATI or you can use this. So from this, we know this is the all-time high, the 366. So if it breaks this on the daily, Microsoft is capable of going to 403. That's the extension level. On the 4-hour, on the 4-hour, we have, it has hit that 351 after reporting. So it can go to 363, 369, 378. So this is, you can either use this or you can use the daily or you can use the 30 levels of CPR. I mean, I told you guys have options on which levels to use. You should not be having trouble finding levels, okay? So we know it came from 309, what we discussed yesterday. It was creating higher low, but it had been consolidating, not breaking this level. So finally we broke this 340, the previous lower high. So now we can say we have a change of character because it broke above the previous lower high level. But it needs to go up to retest the previous high, the 366, it's an all-time high. If it's rejecting any level below this, if it hits 366, 365, 364, or 360, any level below it, it will be a lower high, and we will be expecting a pullback. Now, since it's at 351, the level to watch for pullback will be this previous lower high. So if it pulls back when the market opens and it still stays above 340, okay, so sometimes you might see a stock has gone up, and what happens when the market opens? Now, I want to encourage you guys, just because a stock is up doesn't mean you can't trade it. It means now you have to get a different strike. You can't look at in the money, you can't look at the money, because it'll be too expensive if this stock doesn't get an IV crash, okay? But I know some people who, they're like, oh, that stock is up, I can't trade, the contract's expensive. You just need to go look at the contracts that you see. The expensive one will be the in the money and at the money. Of course, you can't afford, your stock has gone up 12 points, 20 points. But you can look at out of the money contracts and they'll be cheap. And if this stock, because it's an ER stock, of course, everybody's looking at Microsoft. I wasn't able to listen to their conference, and I haven't looked at the guidance. But for if they're given a negative guidance, trust you me, this stock would be going down. So they must have said something good for it to hold this level. But is it going to hold when the market opens? So that's the question. And for me, I usually tell you guys, I wish for, if I've not had, if I didn't do a lotto swing, I usually pray for for IV crash. I'm sorry, but I want to get those cheap contracts. So if we get an IV crash, it will be nice, and you don't have to look at way out. If you see a stock has had an IV crash, you can just see where that contract was when you're looking at the contracts. So you look at the high of that contract, and then you look at the entry now, where it has dropped to because of that IV crash. If you see that contract, the previous high was like, let's say 500, and then it has dropped to 100. It means if this stock is going back to retest that post-year high, that contract can go back to that 500. So if you're putting in 100 to make, I know hope is not a strategy, but trust you me, that IV crash is what, that's why I encourage you guys to play post-year, because anytime there's a slight IV crash, it makes those contracts very cheap, very cheap. And that's what you want. You don't want to get into anything expensive. So never be discouraged about getting into a play which has already run pre-market or after hours. You just need to look at a different strike. You can't look at in the money or at the money. You just need to go slightly out of the money. So for here, because it's I'm sure if you look, and yesterday, those at the money contracts, like I said, were cheap. That's why I'm hoping we get an IV crash. I know hope is not a strategy, but if you look at yesterday, I looked at the contracts and at 350, 350 call wasn't bad, actually. It was 145. So it means if we get a slight, even if it goes up, this contract won't be too expensive. And the the Ivy was not bad. Huh, I should have done this. What was I looking at? I was looking at in the money. So at 340 was 365. There's no way I would ever swing a lot of ER and spend more than 150. Those are my rules. Not unless I'm trading, I don't know which stock. Um, but you should never spend more than 250 if you're doing an ER swing. That would be not unless you got into that contract way before. Um, even here was a good entry, or even yesterday. And there's no way that $14 move or 15 is gonna make this contract go up 1,000 plus. So this is going to be a good post-year play. So please look at it. So at 350, 2 or 355, I don't think there'll be more than 250 when the market open. So please look at it post-year. Now, if we get a slight pullback and it still stays above 340, this previous lower high, this level, okay, these levels are usually mentioned. If it stays above, it's very important for you. Like yesterday I said in the video, if it stays above 427, get a call. It is very important for you to know those levels. Because if it doesn't go to that level, it means it wants to go up. So if it doesn't pull back to this level, any level above 340, it means the Microsoft will try those high levels. And too far. Ah. You'd have counted the things. Okay, so if it stays above 340, then it means it's gonna go try retest that 366. So you just get a call. Don't hesitate. If we get a IB crash, all the best. If not, I wish I'd counted the days yesterday. Okay, so that's for Microsoft. For V, of course, I've never seen it do anything that was right. Like when you look at it, it had a bullish rejection this week, and then it had this bullish rejection, and then it had a bearish. So this week, they tried to take the price up, then it came back down, and then now it looks like it's dropping. So V, I've never seen it. I told you guys, there's no day I'll ever swing V, and you guys can see why. But it can be a good post ER, which compared to Mastercard is never that some of these stocks, they don't give you the best move. Um, so ah, so if it breaks below this 227, I would rather if you can look at MA, we'll look at MA and see. So sometimes I usually look at sympathy play, and sometimes you would see a sympathy play moving better than the stock reporting earnings. So you can look at MA, you can look at GS, and sometimes JPM, sometimes any other financial stock, you would see them move better than the stock that has reported earnings. So it has to stay above this 227. If it breaks below it, then we are looking at this 215. If it stays above 227, then it has to break this 240, the previous lower high level. MA, so this one, since we hit, I don't know if you guys remember in September, this was a consolidation play and it's still bearish since, this is why I tell you guys, ER to ER. So since if you had bought your put here and you're still holding 3 months out or 2 months out, you will still be holding your puts and it's still dropping. So we went from 417 to 387. We pulled back, of course, lower high 445. We didn't even go to the key level. Slightly broke this previous high and then went to break this level, create a new support. So if it's acting as a sympathy, if it's not pulling back, so we had this pullback, and then we had this consolidation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6. So it's been coming down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then yesterday it created an inside day. So anytime you see a stock creating an inside day, it's a constriction. It means you're either going to get, so you're looking at the support and the resistance of the previous candle. So if it breaks below this, 378 is going to go down. If it breaks above 390, then it might go up to retest this 405 and this 417. So that's how you look at other sympathy stock. If you see this one has been moving way better than V, and also the ATR for MA, I think it's better than for V. Now, so if it breaks below this, and this looks like, this is daily, this looks like a head and shoulder pattern, if you guys can see. So this is the head 417, and I think, was this an all-time high? I think it's an all-time high. Yeah. So this is an all-time high. So this is a head 417. This is left shoulder, and this is the right shoulder. So a head and shoulder pattern is bearish. Okay, so we came from down, where we came from, and then we hit the top. So we came down. When you pull back, you're pulling back to the same level. What is it? Mabega, shoulders. The shoulders, the left and the right shoulder. Then this should be the base. I don't know if this is the base or this is the base. Just above the two girls, above it, that's the base. So usually the pattern is you're supposed to go back, retest this level. So it's either this or this. You are supposed to go back, retest the support, the base. I don't know how to say it. The base of the head. If you're sculpting somebody's head, that's from the shoulder, that baseline. So this is the base. So it can be here or here. So if we are still bearish, then it means this stock can go all the way to 356 and or this 338. So a head and shoulder is bearish. I didn't even see this. So it's bearish. So, and this stock is reporting earnings. When is 26? Thursday. Is this week?
Yes.
tomorrow.
Sometimes I didn't have MA in my. Sometimes and in Whisper they miss some of these stocks. Mm. 26. And in Whisper doesn't have it on the schedule. Ah, this is how I usually miss some things. And you see, this one is giving us a head and shoulder. Okay. Yeah, it's 26 before market open. Oh, yeah, I'm glad I looked at it. Is it under the momentum list? Would have missed this play just like that. Sometimes you shouldn't rely just on earning whispers. You have to go to Webull and also go to Finviz. Otherwise, you can miss a play. I know I've missed some good ones just because they were not in the schedule for earnings with Whisper. Ah, so it's not in the momentum list, but it's in the list where you create a double top or double bottom. Yeah, this is even on the weekly, it's creating that head part. So this is the base. It went up, it went up. So I don't know, this is the shoulder here. So here on the weekly, you can come down to 370 and then pull back to this 391. So on the weekly, it hasn't formed the shoulder. On the daily, it has. On the daily, we have this and this pullback here. So this is the left shoulder and this is the right shoulder. Let me gamble on this. It usually doesn't do much also until post ER. It's the same as V, but I think I might. We'll see what happens to V after market open. But just look at this now because I hadn't seen it was reporting earnings tomorrow pre-market. So now this can be a pre-ER play depending on what happens to V when the market opens. So if it keeps going down, then and the contracts are so cheap. There's barely any volume. Nobody usually cares so much about these stocks because they don't move much for ER. And let me look at next week. Good. Barely any volume. What is happening? Some are just zero. But sometimes our stocks, after the report earning, you see the volume going up and they open interest. But these two, mostly, nothing much happens to them. So this will be an interesting earnings because it has this head and shoulder pattern. If it's gonna be a less, we can see if we can gamble $100 there. A cheap, but look at it today so that if we start moving, depending on what happens to V, you're not getting in later. You just so this one can either be, if we're going by the head and shoulder pattern, it's bearish. But if we go by the weekly, it still can pull back. So you see this, it can either come, this is the head. So we take this as the shoulder. It has to come down to this level, 370, and then try to pull back and then come down. But on the daily, sometimes these patterns can be, I don't know which one we go by, either the daily or the weekly. Okay, I won't spend more time on this one. So either look at that or GS as sympathy. Poor GS is still bearish. So all these financial stocks have been bearish. So GS broke 300, and I think we spoke about it. Was it a Sunday or I don't know when? And I think it went to, did it retest this level? These lines, I drew them so long time ago. Yeah, it did. It did retest the 297. And that was a double bottom, and then it tried to go up, but didn't go all the way to 3. It didn't even go to 305. So we had a bearish continuation. So if those MA and so this is the next support. If it keeps going down, then we are watching for 279. If it keeps going down, if it still stays below 300, then we're watching for 279. If it stays above 307, so we look 307, 315, then we'll go back to our 323 and our usual levels, 323, 329, 335, 347, 353, 362. Okay, so watch this. If we are still having a bearish continuation, so this is the level to watch for, to retest this, because we retest anytime a stock is retesting a previous support level, it's a sign of weakness. If it had rejected this and created a higher low, then it would have known it wants to go back up. But the minute a stock is touching a previous support, it's a sign of weakness. Then you should be looking after pullback for a bearish continuation, and this is our next support. So if we keep going down, that's about 10, 20 points. Okay, so if V is not behaving, I've never liked V. I'm usually more focused on MA than V. So if it's not going, look at both GS, JPM, and MA. Okay, now BA, we had said there's a highly likelihood of a pullback, which is what it's trying to do. But as long as it is staying below, it has to go to 199. So it has broken, has it hit 190? So this is the previous lower high, but this was the pullback level. When it pulled back from here, it went to 199. So we need, for us to have a change of character, we need to break above this 200, and then we might go up. So I'd say this can be I don't know. Their report wasn't that remarkable. You guys ever look at the at the earnings report? Is there anyone who reads it? So their revenue was good, 18 billion. From commercial airplanes, 7 billion. Estimate was 7.47, it hit 7.8. They had a core loss per share, 3.26. They have a backlog of 469 billion. They did well. Except their cash flow is negative. Okay. So it is trying to pull back. As long as it doesn't break this 190 and doesn't go all the way to 199, we still look at it on a bearish trend. So BA, here we had a good move for CR, the previous earnings. Then here, nothing much. It came down. It took about a week or two before we got this move. Nothing much. So BA is not one that you expect a huge move post year or the earnings if you're swinging it. It's not one that will give you 20 points, 30 points. Some of these stocks you have to gauge your expectation. Just look at the history and you'll see. It has never done that move on the overnight, except here when it dropped. And I think there was some news here why it dropped. Mostly it just takes its slow time. It's either it was bearish and then it continues down, or it's consolidating and then it goes back up or something. It's not those stocks you will lose sleep thinking you'll wake up to 10,000. Not BA. Okay, but post-ER is usually good. Sometimes it has a move immediately. Sometimes it consolidates. Like here, there was consolidation for so long. So we are hoping because of this move down, we don't get the same consolidation, because after such a drop, and if it's creating a higher low, we at least after we break 200, we expect a 50% retracement. So 243, we did the math yesterday, 178. That is 22 plus 43. It was coming to 65. So divide by 2, 32. So we are expecting, and don't expect that to be in a day. That's not how BA moves. Don't expect 30 points in a day. But if it's reversing to go back up, then expect at least a 50% retracement here. But it has to be above 200. If it rejects 200, we are looking at puts again. Okay, so this is the daily. Then it means below 178, we are looking at 166. Might be a good play today. Okay. So don't keep a watch of it. As long as it stays above 178 and it has to break this 199, we have a chance to go up. If it rejects this level, doesn't even touch this level, 199, then just plan for puts for bearish continuation. Okay. So TXN, I would say this is usually a good play, but if you had puts earlier because it was already on a bearish trend. So if you had puts, it would be either bearish continuation or a pullback. So it decided to have a bearish continuation. It's down like almost 10 points or something. So this is the importance of playing pre-ER. So if you have gotten your puts early, I don't know how, I didn't look at it. I don't know how they were, if somebody took a glance at it. So if it keeps going down because it has broken the previous support, so 141. So this is the previous support. So if it breaks this 141, then we have 139, very close. And we go by this daily, it can go all the way to 144. So it means there was a gap fill from 153 to 144 if it keeps going down. And I think it's very close to that. Break it, 139, then 133. Then there's a huge gap between this and 130, 133 and 120. So these are the advantages of playing a stock pre. You'll be holding, say you leave a runner and then get a hedge. So if you're leaving a runner, that runner would have paid you even if you got a hedge. So that's for TXCN. It has to break above 153 to try retest these previous high levels, 159, 161. So this one can be a good post ER. So it's usually a good pre and also post ER. Like here it continued down, and here it continued down, and here it's consolidation then went up. So it's usually a good post ER play. So look at it, please. Okay. Now, I already talked about Mera yesterday, so I just want to talk about ENPH. I already talked about MA. So I'm really interested with this ENPH. Of course, by the fact that they've been trying to make it like a penny stock. The ENPH is reporting tomorrow together with Amazon and UPS also. So I'll look at UPS, ENPH, and Amazon. I don't know if I said I might try to gamble CMG, but and RCL. Now, depending on what happens to BA, some of these sectors go together, airline and cruise. And of course, let me look at RCL first. So like BA, that's what I told you guys, these sectors, they go together. So just the same way like BA, it's been bearish. So I'm stuck with semiconductor. Airline and cruise and hotel. So hotel stocks, airline and cruise. So cruise, we have RCL, CCL, and CHL, CUK. And then we have hotels like MAR, MGM. I've never traded Hilton. And there's a what is it called? Hyatt, or I don't know any of that hotel. But mostly I just look at MAR and MGM. There are other hotels. Yeah. So this sector is this, they move together. If you're seeing yeah, oh yes, this one. WY and N. Yes, so those are the three. WY and N, MAR, and MGN. Those are the three I usually look at. And then RCL and CCL. I prefer RCL because, of course, the ATR is bigger than CCL, but sometimes CCL can make you money. So those are the ones, if you're seeing BAs going down, just get puts for the others. They move together. All these, they are sisters. Okay, so since this earning, it was going up pre-ER. So this is the same example of our ER to ER. So if you had you establish the trend post TR. After you establish the trend, just buy a longer contract, 2 months out, 3 months out, and this was the case. So we had been bearish, of course. Everything was coming down, and then we were trying to recover, going up, going up. The same thing for BA, was trying to recover, going up. So from this earning, it was going up, pullback went up. So it was a run up to ER, and then pullback, consolidation, then started going up post ER. So if you establish a trend, you're buying time. Just try buy time, even if you're paper trading, buy time and see. Okay, so still we've been bearish, but it's still a higher low because we came from 59. This was a double top bottom here, went all the way to 112. So if you had gotten a put from this ER, you would still be making money 3 months later up to here. So it's the same thing. So whatever happens to BA today can give us a clue of what to expect tomorrow pre-market for RCL. Okay, so it's the same thing. If it pulls back, if we had a good pullback, then we might get the same pullback for RCL. If not, then bearish continuation to go down to this level. But so this was from April to July, and this is July to, so 3 months. I think we're due for a pullback. Or we are tired of the bearish trend. Let's see, 79. So just look at it today. Don't wait until evening because it's having earnings tomorrow morning. Any stock that is reporting tomorrow morning should be looking at it from market open today, because if you get a move, you don't want to wait until to end of market to start asking, Virginia, what are we swinging? No, you play the pre-ER. So if you're getting a call here, you're not waiting until if it's going up today. When it's up here is when you want to buy it. You get in at market open, and then you are holding runners into tomorrow. Okay. So depending on what happens to BA, it might give us a clue of what to expect for RCL tomorrow. Okay. So ENPH, I have never missed gambling on this. Never missed it. They pay you handsomely. They've never disappointed. This one, we were still recovering from this drop. Then we continue dropping here, and we're still dropping. So ER to ER. So here you could have gotten a pullback. We went up, came down, pullback. Then you could have gotten puts, and you still be languishing in money. Be languishing in money today. But ENPH, FSLR, said G. They've never disappointed for earnings. They've never disappointed. You can just look at the chart and you can see they've never disappointed. I don't know, when was this? 2022. Here it didn't go up. I think this is the only time it didn't do so well, because it kind of had consolidation, then pull back, and then continued down. Then another time here, it went up. It's a good pre and post year. So this stock, when I had Dawn said I ditched it and went to LMT, I was like, oh my goodness, you don't know good stocks to trade. You don't ditch ENPH, you don't ditch FSLR, you don't ditch AVGO, Kashiro ditch AVGO. I'm like, are you serious? There's no way you can be ditching such good stocks. They reward you, and the trend, they are momentum stocks. If it's going down, it's going down. If it's going up, it's going up. And it takes days. It's not a stock you're like they are chasing every day, every day. You buy, you're holding. It's giving you a month in a play. Pull back. Then since, look, this December, since we hit 339, it's been dropping. So those people who buy leaps, imagine if you go to your put here and you bought a 1 year out or 2 years out from 390, 339. I should have known after our friend stopped fighting. These things became popular in 2000, from 2000 and 2016. Hey, what is the year? 2016 to 2020? That's when they became popular. Do you see what I'm talking about? They just started becoming popular, and they never stopped. They just kept going up. They kept going up. Then after our friend left, we came down, and then we started having the natural energy story again, and then we went up, and then we pulled back, and then nobody has been keeping the natural green energy agenda that well. I think that's why these stocks are dropping. Anyway, if we are getting a pullback, the previous lower high here, 132, that's just 30 points, even more than 30 points, because we are below 100. I don't know if they can drag it lower, but if you're getting a pullback, and because this stock has been going down, let me look at it. They need to be revived. I know that's what Virginia wants. And this one looks like he still wants to go down. Hmm. Yeah, this is so sad. If you'll be gambling, don't buy out of the money. Ooh, and they are expensive. Why are they calls? If you look at the IV, it's over 100%. That's why. And it has some spread. But this is not bad. A 105 call is 194, and then 110 is 109, but it has a spread 120. But the IV is ridiculous. It's over 100%. I know it's gonna be a tricky gamble, but I will gamble it anyway. Okay. So if we're getting a pullback, we are looking at going back to this 130. If we're getting a continuation, it's going back to 74. If we look, it looks like it wants to go back. It's going back. Now this, if you see, it's almost a head and shoulder pattern. So this is the head. I don't know why it's the shoulder. But this was almost a double top, came down. So we came from 113, went up, and we came back to 113 and broke it. We broke 108. So here, can these people drag this thing to $22? It's possible. So 66. That's this daily. So next support is 74, then 55. If it keeps going down, you're watching for 74. If it rejects any level below, if it rejects this level, any level above 74 will be a higher low, will be going up. but this is just good examples of ER to ER. Okay. So 130, 132, below this, if we keep going down, then we're looking at 74. Give me a second. So if we keep going down, so if this is the thing, if you had somebody who had gotten a put, you still be holding you're taking profit and then leaving a runner and then hedging with a call. But these are the levels to watch for. So ENPH, mostly the FSLR should be next week. So you can also play the sympathy. FSLR is usually stronger. It was showing signs of pulling back yesterday. The G and the NPH have been the weakest in this year school. But this, like you see here, since it hit 142, it's been trying to work and even creating higher low here. So this usually looks the strongest, although it's also been beaten down. Came all the way from 232. We had a lower high here. ER to ER, you have gotten your puts sold here. And then, so it's reporting earnings that should be next week on Wednesday or Tuesday. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So look at FSLR and SETG. So this one, oh, okay, that's fine. So FSLR, look at this previous support, 176, 170. So it broke 141, it's at, of course, 155. So the previous 170, 176, it has to, if it's pulling back, it has to go up there. Then we know after we've broken this, then we'll go back at least to our usual levels that we understand. But if it doesn't retain, go back to those levels, then might have a bearish continuation. So this is a pullback. If we don't go back to break the previous lower high levels or this support, previous support, then it means might still weak and we'll have a bearish continuation for earnings. So also watch this. It looks a bit stronger than ENPH and SETG in terms of trying to pull back. Look at it today, okay? That's FSLR. The G, they usually report after each other. And the other time, ENPH and FSLR went down, but SETG went up. So this is how you cannot just expect them to behave the same because they're in the same sector. And that's why sometimes I say I gamble both ways, because if you're thinking, oh, because ENPH went down, FSLR went down, then SETG will go down, you might be surprised because that's what happened last earnings. ENPH and FSLR went down, not this one. This one. So ENPH and FSLR went down, but this one didn't. So it slightly went down. And then what happened when the market opened? It went all the way from 260 to 304. It went up over 40 points and then continued all the way to 315. On the other hand, FSLR and this was in May. On the other hand, the FSLR and the ENPH kept going down. Okay, so you can't assume just because they're in the same, each company, I'm sure they're in the same sector, but probably the other ones, they didn't make good money and this one they made good money. So we can't have that assumption. They will just keep going down, or we get puts for all of them or get calls for all of them. Okay, so this is, you see, pre-ER from October 17th, it's just been dropping. So watch it today. Keep watching these three of them. This one is reporting, or this one is still have time until 6th. Mostly they usually report following each other. We start at ENPH, FSLR, and then ZG is usually the last one. You can also play RUN. RUN is the same sector, and the CSIQ, the same sector. Okay. Okay. Now, there's a stock I'm supposed to talk about.